I've had Brian Provinciano from V-Blank come on to EP Live a couple of times over the last couple of months to talk about Shakedown Hawaii. I finally spent enough time in this incredible, crazy, nefarious world that Brian and his collection of contributors have crafted for us that I can give you my thoughts on this experience. And I'm going to tell you that if you have any of the platforms that it's currently available for, and that's, I think, the Vita, the PlayStation 4, the Switch, or the PC, this is a must-get. This is a very cool Super Nintendo kind of imagining of what a Grand Theft Auto game or type game would look like if it was crafted in 16-bit with super detailed little pixels and a crazy, a living world, you know, where the trees are kind of swaying and the fire just gets out of control when you're blasting at cars with your flamethrower. You play a business person who heads up a company called Feeble, and you just are behind the times and you're losing on every front. You're multifaceted at least, but you're in the wrong old technologies. You're still thinking that people will love to rewind their VHS tapes and go to video stores and things like that. So you play this business person that's trying to get a grasp on his corporation and the investments that he has made throughout the island of Hawaii. But you also play as the son of this business person because Brian wanted to mix up the story and give some agency to another character that might do some crazy and silly things that didn't really befit the character of a CEO, although the CEO was just losing his mind trying to not only, you know, make tons of money, but also defeat his fiercest competitor on the island. I think it's Featherbottom or something like that, some other big rich yahoo that seems to be doing everything right while the head of Feeble is doing everything wrong. And so the son goes out and just tries to make a name for himself and does some stick-up jobs and breaks and enters into different houses and steals their stuff. He's trying to make money for video games and fun things, also returning cars that are delinquent on their payments, so he becomes a repo man for a second. But you also play another character who's kind of like an old Rambo, like a mercenary. And every time that Feeble has this business idea, they'll send out this mercenary to go and slay the competition and steal all the information so that Feeble can take it. And so what happens is you're basically going up against a cartel as this mercenary. And so that's where you get into this kind of smash TV, over-the-top insanity. The chaos just gets nutty and insane, and it's rife with, if not the same kinds of pop culture references that we got at a Retro City Rampage, there are lots of references to game mechanics and styles of play that we've seen in the old arcade days and the 16-bit days. I asked Brian about this, if he was trying to make kind of a Smash TV homage here, and he's really not, but I think what's happened is that ever since Robotron and Smash TV came on the scene, I think there's been this deference to what Eugene Jarvis sort of crafted with the dual-stick shooter, and there's been lots of good dual-stick shooters, Geometry Wars and stuff. And so you get some dual-stick shooting mechanics in this game, and they're incredibly satisfying as this extra layer of comedic social commentary, and honestly commentary about the rampant consumerism that's all around us, the pervasive tricks and tools that massive corporations employ to keep us engaged with their products and their services and their retail establishments. There's also game shows in here, and there's little exercise mini games. There's a meta game of you trying to buy and purchase all the different plots of land and all the establishments, all the businesses that exist, and the apartment buildings and the houses that exist. You're trying to basically take over the whole island. There's this global domination thing in here. That is less effective than I wanted it to be. I thought there should have been just this extra little bit of fun in that you know, that meta consumer experience, that real estate experience should have been just a little bit more fun, maybe augmenting the buildings in some interesting new ways or something like that, you know, being able to kind of go down to the pixels and do a little bit more with that. You can customize your characters like crazy, but I don't know, there is a compulsion in there to collect all the stuff, but it's just not as thrilling and rewarding as you would want it to be. I talked about this at length with Brian, but I think it was a good move to not just make Retro City Rampage 2 and try to find a whole bunch of new pop culture references or scale up the references from RCR 1 to 16-bit. I think it's nice that they tried to craft their own story and parody of our consumptive habits with Shakedown Hawaii. I think that's cool. But really what's going to keep you engaged in this game is that it's really fun to drive the cars. It's really fun to get chased by cops and to shoot at the bad guys and to, you know, steal the loot that you got to steal, and all of the evil-doing criminal kind of stuff that you would find and take some pleasure from in a Grand Theft Auto type of experience. It's all here, rendered in beautiful 16-bit pixels. It's just such a gorgeous experience. Whether I played it on the Switch, so I was playing it in portable mode, and it just looked amazing. And then I boosted everything up to the big screen on my TV, and I got to tell you, it's shocking when you're dealing with the finer details and the shading and stuff like that you see on the smaller screen with the pixel art, and then you just crank everything up to 11 and stick it on a big screen. It's like, oh my God, wow, I am too close to these pixels. Very hypnotic and easy to get caught up in this experience. And it will also, if you never played Retro City Rampage, the beautiful thing that's a different enough experience. That's an 8-bit kind of version of Grand Theft Auto. I guarantee you're going to dig Shakedown Hawaii, and if you've never played Retro City Rampage, you're also going to want to add that one to your collection as well. Brian and V Blank, they're mad geniuses, and they've crafted something very, very cool, and it's absolutely worth your time. Shakedown Hawaii gets a 9 from me.